Tonight, parts of South Australia's DNA closed for the foreseeable future, and how local businesses are reacting to the government's job seeker package.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening. The Far West Local Health District has confirmed late this afternoon that a person in the area has COVID-19. That person is in self-isolation, and those they've been in contact with are being contacted by health authorities. Earlier today, local councillors were calling for the borders to close before news broke of the region's first case.
Follow the other states and close the borders. That's the message from Broken Hill's Mayor to the New South Wales government.
Calling on the government and to the Premier to say, please close the borders at this time. You're doing a great job about ensuring that people aren't moving around, but there is a real risk at the moment.
The Mayor asking the state government to look at decisions made by neighbouring Queensland and South Australia and lock down the state. As it stands, no one from New South Wales can go into Queensland or South Australia unless essential, but people from those states can enter New South Wales freely.
We've been asked by the federal and state government not to go out unless it's urgent, and we're saying to all the travellers, if we close the borders, that will help them as well.
But today, a spokesperson from the state government said there are no plans for New South Wales to close its borders, and there is no current health advice recommending it. One local Broken Hill councillor says focus should turn onto the Far West region. He says restricting people coming into the region would help protect the community from seeing a virus outbreak. Councillor Kennedy wants an immediate meeting of the city's councillors to discuss what action council can take to protect the city and the region. The meeting needs to be held within the next 14 days of its submission.
In my opinion, council's not doing enough to follow this up, and we will need a resolution to force more action on the council.
The state government didn't respond to questions about closing the Far West region to visitors. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
World-renowned wineries in the Clare Valley have shut their doors for now amid drastic new measures implemented by the state government in an attempt to stop the spread of coronavirus. The move comes while SA Health struggles to contain a cluster of the virus in other wine regions.
Closed until further notice. The best time of the year for these cellar doors, now devastated by the coronavirus crisis.
10 people were stood down, which was heartbreaking, and it was the worst working day in my adult life.
The Mid-North cellar door closures come as SA Health battles to contain a virus cluster in the neighbouring wine region of Barossa Valley. Authorities say the cases are linked to American and Swiss tourists visiting that region.
What happened in the Barossa was dreadfully unfortunate. But it wasn't necessarily a taint on cellar doors. It was really more about inappropriate people moving around without the right sort of screening and protections.
These local winemakers decided to take action and close their services before it was made compulsory.
We needed to keep processing and keep working. You know, this time of year with vintage, it's important that we look after the wine and the grapes. So we had to do that, and you know that's why we shut cellar door, just to minimise the risk.
Vintage is wrapping up, but the winemakers at Paulette's have tried repurposing some staff.
Picking a ton of quinces and turning them into quince paste, and trying to repurpose just the core staff so we can be, as soon as we get the go-ahead, we can be a week away from opening.
They also say this year's bumper vintage will not go to waste, calling on locals to still purchase their favourite drop through their websites. Local delivery also made available in an effort to help those in isolation.
If you put in the coupon code #COVIDSucks, you'll get 10% off and freight free on all deliveries, so we'll deliver it into Clare and anywhere around Australia.
Wineries such as Jim Barry are urging tourists to stay home and stay safe, doing what it can to avoid an influx of tourists during the normally busy Easter period.
That's just the way it is at the moment, but if we can all just, I suppose, bunker down and do all the whole social distance things, that'll, all blow over a lot quicker.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A multi-billion-dollar stimulus package has been announced by the government in a bid to save thousands of jobs and businesses. The grand plan is to keep Australia afloat and out of recession as COVID-19 continues to wreak havoc on the economy.
It's the largest government support package Australia has ever seen, $130 billion focused squarely on saving and keeping jobs.
It would be a huge relief to keep our full-time staff on. We have actually had to let a few staff go, and it would mean that we would have the chance to re-employ them, which would be amazing.
The rescue stimulus is set to keep the nation afloat during the economic shock of coronavirus, with $1,500 being handed out each fortnight for workers. To put that into perspective, it's more than the annual federal budget for health and education combined. Local businesses relieved.
Yeah, it would cover a lot of our portion of wages and it would make it so much easier for us to weather the storm and get out the other side.
While some eateries in Port Lincoln have been forced to shut up shop, a few have stayed open with skeleton staff. Rachel Radavini's husband and co-owner of Pizza Trieste has been left exhausted trying to keep the business running while she stays at home raising their young daughter.
He comes home tired every single night, so he's working morning till close and going in on our days off to prepare things.
The stimulus package is hoped to breathe new life into the hospitality industry as jobs continue to dry up across the region.
It's all to try and flow in the next 6 months to keep the economy at work, and that's what the package is about.
Minister Ramsey says a recession is inevitable and that the stimulus will only help cushion the blow.
I think the recession will be shorter-lived, and because the drivers of the recession are something completely different to what you'd normally see driving a recession.
We don't know what to plan for. I mean, we're planning for the worst, basically.
Employers will have to register for the package with the Taxation Office. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Flinders Ranges Council offers months of rate relief and renewed calls for the regions to receive equal fuel pricing. Welcome back. 2 regional councils have put in place rate relief for those in financial hardship. Flinders Ranges Council residents will have the option to keep their cash flow where they need it and pay their rates at a later date. The council is also putting a hold on all fines and any interest on outstanding rates and service charges. Port Augusta City Council says it won't be issuing debt collection notices to those who've not paid their third quarter rates.
So people will still get their rate notices, but if they're not in a position to pay, then they don't have to. They just have to contact council and provide some advice that they will be deferring their payments.
It's just one less worry they've got to worry about with any money and charges they have to look to pay. I mean, they're still going to get their water bill, they're still going to get their electricity bill. So this is just one portion of a cost they don't have to worry about as much.
Residents who are in need of the assistance are advised to contact their local council. South Australia's wholesale fuel prices have dropped dramatically, but the RAA is raising concerns regional motorists aren't reaping the benefits. It's calling for immediate price changes so the price reductions can be felt statewide.
Plummeting petrol prices, motorists haven't seen fuel costs this low for a long time. Now claims the regions are missing out.
The wholesale price of fuel dropped dramatically with the coronavirus and the lack of demand, but that hasn't been passed on to the regional areas.
This fuel price expert is raising his concerns following a major lag in price adjustments, saying Metro service stations offer a much better deal which disadvantage rural motorists.
The wholesale price that comes out of a refinery dropped by 30 odd cents, and those that have been slow to pass that on have been the larger cities like Port Augusta, which is quite a large city with a lot of traffic.
Whyalla has only seen price drops around 10 cents a litre, despite wholesale prices being slashed by more than 38 cents a litre.
The regions need more relief than probably the city does, and the reason for that is we've had bushfires, we've got a lack of tourism now, they've always had high costs, poor public transport. These costs need to be passed on to them as quickly as they can.
Jeff Brock says regional motorists should be seeing immediate price advantages.
Across all regional South Australia to bring down their retail price in line with the reduction in the wholesale price. So I'll be monitoring that very, very closely.
Still working to bring real-time fuel prices to South Australia.
On the Fuel Watch bill, which is before Parliament at the moment, and if that doesn't work, then in actual fact I'll be taking it further.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The team at Domino's Port Augusta is delivering dozens of pizzas to those working on the front line during this pandemic. 30 have been delivered to staff at both Woolworths and the Port Augusta Hospital. The deliveries are a part of the Feeding the Front Line initiative taken by the company. The local franchisee says his team sincerely appreciates all the hard work of doctors, nurses, medical staff and those working in supermarkets at this time. Thousands of pizzas have been donated Australia-wide, with more donations scheduled this week at local Port Augusta healthcare clinics. The federal government is reminding people of its recently launched coronavirus phone app, which can be downloaded for free. The app provides up-to-date information about the pandemic. It allows users to check their symptoms and gives advice on how to protect yourself and others from the virus. It also has details on social distancing and personal hygiene measures, along with advice for businesses and education providers. Users are able to register their isolation, get information on current cases around Australia and keep up to date with the latest news. Stay with us after the break. The SES issues more reminders about being safe on the water and police ask for help locating a jewellery owner. Hello again. Emergency services are reiterating water safety warnings after 2 vessels were rescued off the coast of the Lower Eyre Peninsula over the weekend. The separate boats both became capsized while the crew were left stranded.
Fresh calls for water safety.
Do your safety checks before you go. Make sure your bones are in. And obviously wear a life jacket. You know, the list is endless and everybody would have their procedure that they go through.
Just after midday on Saturday, the alarm was raised after a boat began taking on water off Coffin Bay. The crew deployed a life raft and abandoned ship. Port Lincoln Emergency Service responding to the call.
They were out at the scene within an hour. On arrival, basically, the vessel had already overturned. There was another recreational vessel in the region that had picked up people out of a life raft.
The crew, with support from SES, tried to right the vessel but failed. A private salvage operation was called in to help. Less than 24 hours later, emergency crews were called out again to an incident in the Port Lincoln Bay.
The second emergency was we received a page call on a vessel that had capsized approximately 500 metres north of Stenros boat ramp.
A passing jet skier saw the unfolding emergency, speeding over to help rescue the stranded crew and bring them back to shore.
The law of the sea is for all operators is if you do hear a mayday call and you're in the vicinity, obviously, and it's safe to do so, by all means help, but make sure you're letting somebody know.
The vessel was towed back to the boat slip and was able to be put back on the owner's trailer.
Whether the seas are calm or rough, I think the example on Sunday highlights the need for us to be mindful of that things can go wrong very quickly in calm waters.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
6 large cannabis plants along with dried cannabis have been seized during a raid of a home at Port Pirie. Police allege just after 5 o'clock on Sunday, patrols pulled over a 60-year-old motorist and then conducted a search of his house. The man was reported for cultivating cannabis and trafficking a controlled substance. He's expected to appear in court at a later date. Police are calling on the community's assistance to help locate the owner of numerous pieces of jewellery which were recovered in Kadina at the end of February. Police seized these rings and bracelet from a 37-year-old Point Pearce woman when she was searched in Cameron Court. The woman was reported for unlawful possession and anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers. A family childcare centre in Whyalla has formed a new Aboriginal women's group looking to sell its artwork within the community. The partnership also an opportunity for local children to learn about Indigenous cultures.
A new group of 15 Aboriginal women excited to share artwork, a true passion of Indigenous culture.
This year we employed Jeanette Cowan, who is an Aboriginal person from Whyalla, and she's managed to get a group of women together.
Working with Gabmirity Manu Children and Family Centre, the women have been forming ideas on their proposed new business venture.
Just get my artwork out there and show what I've got in me.
We're hoping that a byproduct from this is increased enrolments and attendance at our centre, and also better educational outcomes for our Aboriginal children.
Looking through the many handmade chopping boards, these are just some of the many different types of artworks available.
Dot painting on canvas and engraving, etching, chopping boards, burning.
The work not only visually appealing but practical, catching the attention from people all over the world.
I'm still doing some now and orders. I've got orders over in New York.
We looked at buying some stuff to take with us to give to people overseas, and we couldn't find anything local that was done by local Aboriginal people. So yeah, I think it's really good. And we've got some really talented people in Whyalla.
And the children have also been busy, with the centre's walls filled with finger painting, crochet, painted logs and feature pieces.
Really important for us, for our children in the preschool and occasional care and in play groups, to see Aboriginal people working together.
Locals can follow the centre's Facebook page to keep up to date with the new products. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Broken Hill Golf Course closed, and we'll have the weather with John. Welcome back. The Broken Hill Golf Course has closed its gates to members and the public, making it one of the last sports to be cancelled in the Silver City. The venue joins hundreds of courses across the country that have been forced to close because of COVID-19.
Gates locked the Broken Hill Golf Course inaccessible as of midnight last night.
We received a message yesterday from Golf Australia informing us that all golf clubs and facilities should close until further notice.
As the limit on the amount of people in social gatherings in New South Wales was reduced to 2 on Sunday, Golf Australia made the tough decision to close the country's local clubs and facilities. Over the past week, the Silver City course was open to just members, the club presidents saying they were doing their best to keep operating.
We've been practicing the social distancing with only allowing players in groups of no more than 3, which was the ruling last week. This week is rulings of 2.
The club also restricted golf buggies to only 1 player each, but while many players consider golf good exercise and a reason to leave the home, the sport has not made the cut.
Take it pretty seriously on my off days, and yeah, it's just disappointing that we can't go out and have a game. Even if it doesn't have to be social, still be nice just to walk 18 holes.
Golf's cancellation makes it one of the last sports to be suspended in the Silver City. Soccer and tennis both announced last week that they were cancelling its seasons. Basketball scrapped its remaining matches just before finals, netball choosing to postpone its fixture. AFL Broken Hill, like all country footy leagues, still has a season start date of May 31, but that could change. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And now for a look at your local weather.
Thanks, Louise. Sunny in most parts today. Port Lincoln 22 degrees, 25 in Whyalla. Port Pirie and Port Augusta a top of 28 degrees, and it reached a max of 23 degrees in Adelaide. On the satellite, a ridge of high pressure extends over the south of South Australia. A cold front will move across the state on Friday. Looking at the Gulf waters now, and there should be east to southeasterly winds from 10 to 15 knots. Seas around a metre and a half. Sunrise is at 7:27 tomorrow, sunset at 7:11. Partly cloudy conditions expected across the region tomorrow. Port Augusta set for a top of 28 degrees, Whyalla 26. Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay both 23. Woodner and Quorn both 26. Showers in 26 in Broken Hill. Port Pirie 28. Clare and Cleve both 23. Kadina 26. And Adelaide a top of 25 degrees. Looking ahead to the next 4 days, Port Lincoln 23 for the next 3 days, 19 on Saturday. Cleve expecting 23 tomorrow and Thursday, 24 Friday, and Saturday with some showers. And it's looking cloudy for Woodner, 27 on Thursday, 25 Friday, down to 18 on Saturday. Whyalla partly cloudy for the next few days, 25 Thursday, 29 Friday, and windy and 20 on Saturday. Port Augusta 28 Thursday, 30 Friday, and down to 21 on Saturday. And in Kadina 25 Thursday, 26 Friday, and 19 on Saturday. Cloudy in Port Pirie, 27 on Thursday, 29 on Friday and 19 on Saturday. A bit cooler in Clare, 25 on Thursday and Friday, and a chilly 14 on Saturday. Brogan Hill, rain on Thursday, 28 Friday and 19 on Saturday. And that's all for tonight's weather. Louise, it's back to you.
Wonderful, thank you. That's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thank you again for joining us. We'll have updates later. Until then, have a lovely and safe evening. Good night.